Hello, and welcome to our Project 3 of Norm Violations. This is for Dr. Stansbury's social psychology course here at TUNE, and Emma Amrine will be presenting with the help of Maddie Hankins, Avery Morgan, Say Sing, and Maria Loy. And we are going to jump right in. So for our first norm violation, we had Avery and Stace visit HCC across the street, and they went to both the cafeteria and the library. Their goal was to break a social distance norm, so they sat next to a stranger very closely, and they overshared about their life. They made strong eye contact, and they did do the same sex as well. We felt like it would have been a little bit of a different scenario if it was opposite sex, so we sticked with same sex, and then while this was occurring, Maddie, Emma, and Maria took recordings and notes throughout the violation. So Avery was our first runner-up. He was a little nervous, but he felt very confident because he is an extrovert individual, so he wasn't worried about his conversation skills. And then the person he sat down with was Dylan, and they did end up talking the full 10 minutes of the violation occurring, which was really good. He still was a little nervous, but they found common things to talk about, like school, so that helped a lot. And Dylan, in return, was also very open to talking as well, so they bounced off of each other pretty good. And then afterwards, Avery was really pleased with how the conversation went. It was a great experience, and he'll definitely be talking to strangers more in the future because he made a new friend. And then again, as mentioned, here's Dylan. Now, before the violation, when we first noticed him, he was like hunched over. He was wearing very dark clothing. I think his hoodie was up. He was by himself. There was like a lot of open seats around him, which made it even more weird for Avery to sit directly next to him. His legs were bouncing and crossed, and he just kind of gave off this not very welcoming energy, like he didn't want to be bothered. And then once Avery sat down next to him, his posture, he got more on guard and upright. His legs were still bouncing, and he was kind of looking all over the place. He never like directly looked at Avery with full on eye contact for any more than a second, really. And but once like they kind of started talking about common things, you could tell he became more welcoming, and he started smiling and laughing a little bit more, so that was really nice. And then afterwards, when we confronted Dylan and we told him what we were doing in the experiment itself, he mentioned that this has never happened to him before, and he was very confused, but he did feel comfortable. And although he is very introverted, he enjoyed the company of Avery. So for Stace's reaction of this norm violation, he went second. He was very confident, and he didn't think someone was going to be aggressive or hostile if he tried to talk to them, so he wasn't worried about that aspect. However, the first person that he did sit next to, they ended up leaving within a minute, so that made him feel a little discouraged. But the second person he talked to, which was going to be in the library, he did say the whole 10 minutes, and that was a much more pleasant conversation. They, again, found common things to talk about with school and all that stuff, so that went very well. And then afterwards, Stace felt very happy that he could talk to a stranger in a good way, and the fear of someone being offended or annoyed did not occur, so that was very good. And then the person that did end up staying the whole 10 minutes for Stace, his name was Rich. Again, he was in the library, and he had a seat right next to him, but no seats around him at all. And he was in the middle of writing an English paper, and he had no headphones in. That was one of the things we were looking for. We didn't want to bother someone if they had headphones in. We felt that was going to be rude. So Rich, he was a great candidate for that. And then throughout the violation, Rich was much more like smiley and laughy than Dylan was. He kind of gave off more of a like, it's okay if you talk to me energy, if that makes sense. He did same thing with the eyes. He didn't really look directly at Stace, and he was a little fidgety, but he seemed more into the conversation. And then when we confronted Rich about our experiment, he said that he wasn't weirded out at all, and the conversation flowed very nicely. Okay, so for our second norm violation, Emma, Maddie, and Maria visited the Wawa parking lot. Maria went ahead and did yoga, and then Emma and Maddie asked strangers if they had any trash they wanted to be thrown away from their car while they were getting gas. So our goal was to perform these tasks in an area where people wouldn't really expect this behavior to be occurring, and we were hoping to gain reactions from bystanders. And then while this was recurring, Avery and Stace took recordings and notes throughout the violation. Okay, so I did go first, and I wasn't very nervous to do this because I've been in the food industry for quite some time now. So asking people if they had trash was second nature for me. Granted, it was in a different environment, so that I was a little uncomfortable with, but I didn't expect anyone to be very aggressive or hostile, just more so confused. So I wasn't nervous. And then, as suspected, everyone said no to me, but they were very polite. Again, it would make sense for them to say no to this offer because people usually don't ask you if you have trash from your car while you're getting gas. So I expected that. And then afterwards, again, I was just really relieved my experience was positive. No one was aggressive towards me. They just declined politely and went on their way. So it was very good and positive. And then with Maddie's reaction, she went second and she was a little nervous, but me going first helped her become more confident for that. And same experience happened to her. Everyone politely declined. No one was aggressive or hostile. And afterwards, she got some looks, but everyone was super sweet about it. So for Maria's violation, she chose to do yoga in front of the entrance of the Wawa just because she is more introverted and felt uncomfortable approaching strangers and asking these questions, which was totally fine. So she did yoga, and she doesn't do yoga in her free time, so this was again second nature for her. She didn't mind doing it in a Wawa parking lot. She didn't really feel uncomfortable doing that and was confident. And then again, nobody went up to her and judged, like, was judging her or being aggressive. She got a couple looks, some compliments, and just people thought it was humorous. So it was a really good interaction and it went very well. So with the participants that were bystanding for the trash collection part, again, beforehand, people were just doing their daily routines. They were driving, getting gas, or going into Wawa. And then during, everybody said no, but they were really sweet about it. And then afterwards, they were definitely confused and puzzled because no one asked this question, but it was okay. And then for the yoga part, again, everyone was doing their own thing. There was decent foot traffic. People were going to their car, entering the Wawa. And then during, a lot of people drove by and did stare. Unfortunately, we couldn't get their reaction because they were quick to leave the space, but they definitely were focusing on Maria and were confused with what she was doing. But for those that we were able to get a chance to interview, there was confusion and curiosity, but again, it was humorous, just more so confused, but not aggressive. And then we had some failed interactions. The one that was most big was Stace's first person he talked to did end up leaving within a minute. You could tell he just didn't really want to talk to Stace. He felt uncomfortable, and this isn't something he typically did in his life, so he immediately packed his bag and walked away. So that was a failed interaction. And then something I noticed too with the Wawa violation, there were a lot of people passing by and staring that we couldn't really get a chance to ask them what their reaction was just because they were so quick to leave. They were in a hurry or they were just in their car, like leaving the scene. So I was really curious what they were thinking, and I wish we could have gotten more people's opinion on that. So besides the people that we violated the norm with, others' reactions in the cafeteria, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't really populated. There weren't a lot of people. Some did look at us and were kind of confused what we were doing, but they didn't really interfere with the violation itself. And then with the library, it was a little harder just because we were talking to strangers and like kind of recording from a distance. So people were kind of confused why we weren't just studying and doing our homework. So that felt a little uncomfortable, especially the environment itself is, you need to be quiet when you're in the library. And then with Wawa, it was a little overwhelming with just all the traffic and cars and people, but we were safe and it was fine. And again, it was somewhat easy to do, but it was kind of loud just because people were driving by and they were in a rush. And then for external factors, the cafeteria was probably the easiest out of all three areas. Library was a little harder. It was definitely harder to find someone to violate the norm with, whether that was because they had headphones in their ear or they were sitting with a group or a person studying or doing homework. It was harder to pick and choose who we could do it with. And then with Wawa, it was pretty easy, especially the collecting trash aspect. No one like almost hit us with their car or anything. It was pretty safe. And then Maria, she found a really good spot to do yoga right by the entrance that she wasn't going to get injured in any way. And it had a lot of people were passing by just because it was by the front door. So that was really good as well. So, when answering the first part of this question about what this experience was like and teaching us about the power of the situation itself, we definitely learned a lot. I feel like us as humans, we have this desire to cooperate and be guided by the norms that we're given in life. And it's just kind of the basis of multiple principles and ideals, as well as duties and obligations. And it's just what we're told to do. And it's also how we judge others. So, if they're not conforming to the norms that we are conformed to. So when we break this, it definitely feels abnormal. We have this fear of being judged, and it's kind of scary. Anxiety is increased, and although we can control biasy, there was a lot of subconscious and biasy that interfered with how we felt with those looking around us. So one in particular was the false consensus bias from our textbook. That contributed to feeling confused, like other people not wanting to be involved in breaking a norm with us. Because again, at the end of the day, we are a complete stranger. And then when answering the second part of this question, we can only imagine that those who are from a different culture or they're disabled in some way, how they would feel like such an outsider. We have these stereotypes and prejudiced thoughts that we make with groups, and that can be very problematic because then we discriminate and we judge others really easily. And it's just not fair because they're different. And it's really on us for judging someone just because they're different. I think it just creates a really unwelcoming feeling. And to be shot down by that reason, it's not a nice feeling. It's very unfair. So we do feel very bad for those people, especially being those people for this project. I mean, that was just a slim version of how they are probably feeling. So it wasn't a good feeling, and we do feel very bad that we do this to people in society, and it's almost second nature. So hopefully that will change soon. So if we were required to violate these norms daily, we definitely would create a new in group. I mean, we have this mentality as humans, it's either us or them mindset. So we familiarize ourselves with these behaviors and actions that our group are doing. So if we were to do these violations daily, we would have our own set of norms, and those who weren't like participating in them, we would judge them. We would see them as out group. We would have in group favoritism, and we would prefer our group over them. And it would just be the opposite, 360. It's a natural part of how we structure our environment, and we affiliate with these people in our group and within these norms, and we would socialize less with those in the out groups. Okay, so here are some pictures from the first violation. All the way on the left, Avery is sitting next to Dylan. Again, he's wearing the dark clothing. He had his hoodie up originally. He's not fully facing Avery, but his body language is kind of off to the distance. And then second picture in the middle is Sace. That is the person that did leave within the first minute. He's packing his bag. He does not want to participate. And then on the third, all the way to the right, that is Sace, and that is Rich right there. His body language is more turned towards him, and you can tell he's engaged in a conversation. And then for this, we're gonna do a subset for you to be able to listen to the audio and the videos that we provided. Some are me collecting trash, and then as well as Maddie, and then all the way to the right is Maria doing yoga, and then these are recordings we had from conversations with bystanders. And then lastly, this is our reference for this PowerPoint, and we hope you enjoy. Thank you so much.